Someone was short with you today. Maybe they didn't say hi back. Maybe they gave you a flat one-word reply. Maybe they cut right in front of you in the parking lot. And somewhere in the back of your mind, without you ever really deciding to, you quietly filed them under a type. Rude, cold, a little full of themselves. Now here's the part almost nobody likes hearing. If you had done the exact same thing today, you wouldn't be rude at all. You'd just be a good person having a rough day. So why do you get the rough day, and they get to be a bad person? That's really the whole video. Because there's one specific glitch running quietly behind almost every judgment you make about other people, and once you can see it, honestly, you can't unsee it. Okay, so let's start with the stuff you already do. You just haven't caught yourself doing it. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and instantly, what an idiot, what a selfish maniac. But when you cut someone off, and you do, we all do, it's a totally different story. Sorry, didn't see them. Sun was right in my eyes. I'm honestly not usually like this. See the move? Same exact action, two completely different explanations, and it's everywhere once you notice it. A friend doesn't text you back for 2 days and you feel it like, wow, they really don't care about me, do they? But when you leave someone on read for 2 days? Oh, I've just been completely swamped. I'll get to it. They know I love them. Your silence is circumstances. Their silence is character. Here's another one you'll recognize. Somebody's late to meet you and part of you thinks, that is so disrespectful of my time. But the last time you were late, you had a whole documentary ready to go. The traffic was insane. The alarm didn't go off. There was a thing with the babysitter. When you're late, the world got in the way. When they're late, well, that just tells you what kind of person they are. Or take work. Someone drops the ball on their part of a project and it's immediate. They're lazy. They're not a team player. Typical. But the week you dropped your part? Oh, that was a nightmare week. 3 things blew up at once. It genuinely wasn't your fault. Their dropped ball is a flaw in who they are. Yours was a perfect storm. I bet at least 2 of those landed a little too close. And that's the thing. This isn't some rare flaw that only broken people have. You're doing it constantly. Today. Probably in the last hour. So what is actually going on here? Psychologists have a name for it, and it is not a gentle one. It's called the fundamental attribution error. And in plain English, it just means this. When other people mess up, you explain it with who they are. When you mess up, you explain it with what was happening around you. Their behavior is a personality. Your behavior is a situation. And once you know where this comes from, it makes complete sense why you can't help it. Think about what you actually have access to. When it's you, you can see everything pushing on you from the inside. You know you barely slept. You know you got a horrible email that morning. You know your stomach has been in knots about something you haven't told a soul. You see the whole invisible weather system around your own behavior. But with other people, you get none of that. You don't get the backstory. You don't get the bad news. You don't get the sleepless night. You just get the one thing you can actually see, which is the behavior. One frame. And your brain, which really does not want to work harder than it has to, fills in the blank with the cheapest explanation available. That's just who they are. And think about why the brain loves that answer so much. Bad person is one word. It's done, it's filed, you can move on. The honest version, this is a decent human being having maybe the worst week of their year for reasons you will genuinely never know about. That's a whole essay. And your brain is not out here writing essays about strangers in a parking lot. There's actually a reason you're wired this way, and it's not just laziness, it's old machinery. For most of human history, reading a stranger fast was survival. You didn't have time to wonder about somebody's childhood or their bad morning. Threat or not a threat, decide now, keep moving. Quick character reads were cheap and fast, and they kept people alive. The problem is, you're still running that ancient one-glance system in a world of coworkers and group chats and people in cars, where the snap read is almost always wrong and you never actually find out because you don't stick around long enough to see the backstory. You judged, you moved on, and the correction never came. And it hits everyone, by the way. Smart people, kind people, people who would swear on their life they don't judge. It's got nothing to do with being a good or bad person. It's about which side of the glass you happen to be standing on, the inside or the outside. Now let me be fair, because this is where a lot of these videos go completely wrong. I am not telling you that everyone is secretly wonderful and nobody is ever actually difficult. That's naive, and deep down you know it. Some people really are careless. Some people really are unkind, over and over, on purpose. Patterns are real, and pretending they aren't is its own kind of foolishness. So the fix here is not to decide everybody's a saint. The fix is to stop handing out life sentences based on one bad moment, because that's the real cost of this thing. This is exactly how grudges get built. One rough interaction and you've written somebody's entire character in permanent marker. And then you spend the next 3 months quietly collecting evidence for a verdict you reached in 4 seconds. It quietly wrecks your closest relationships too, because it is so much easier to think your partner doesn't care than to think your partner is drowning in something and hiding it badly. It also poisons first impressions, because the version of a person you meet on their worst possible day is the version your brain locks in as the real one. And then good luck ever shaking it. And here's the part that should really bother you, that same glitch that makes you brutal with everyone else. It makes you way too easy on yourself. Every time you snap, every time you flake, it was the situation, it was the day, it was the traffic. So you never actually have to look at the real pattern in yourself. It turns you into a harsh judge of everyone and a full-time defense lawyer for one person, you. All right? So what do you actually do about it? Starting today, in the very next conversation you have. 3 things, and they're all small. First one. Next time somebody does something that makes you go, wow, what a jerk, ask yourself one specific question before you lock in the verdict. What would have to be going on in a decent person's life for them to do exactly this? And then actually answer it. Name one real reason. Maybe they didn't sleep. Maybe they just got off the phone with a doctor. Maybe they're just wired a little differently than you are. You're not excusing anything. You're just refusing to convict somebody on a single frame of footage. Second, and this one is almost funny how well it works. Take whatever excuse you would give yourself in that exact moment and just hand it to them. You'd say, I was distracted, so, okay, they were distracted. You'd say, I was slammed and I forgot, fine, so were they. It feels almost too generous, right? Like it's unfair somehow. But that is the entire point, because you have been exactly that generous with yourself every single day of your life. All you're doing is sharing the excuse. Third, wait for the pattern. One action is not a personality, ever. So give people something like a 3 strikes rule, or honestly even 2. If someone's short with you one time, that's a moment, that's just weather. If someone's short with you every single time for a month, now that's information, and now you're actually allowed to draw a conclusion. Judge the pattern, never the frame. That one rule by itself will save you from about 90% of the people you would have written off for nothing. And if you want a bonus one, flip the whole thing back around onto yourself once in a while. Next time you mess up and you reach for the situation, the traffic, the day, the excuse, just pause for a second and go, okay, but is this actually a thing I keep doing? Because the same bias that's way too hard on them is going way too easy on you, and you are allowed to hold yourself to the same standard you're holding everybody else to. So here's where you land. You are not surrounded by difficult people. Most days, you're surrounded by people whose bad hour you just happened to walk into, and you caught them in one frame and called it the whole movie. And the wild thing, the thing that should honestly make you a little gentler starting right now, is that every one of them is looking straight back at you and doing the exact same thing. If that reframed even one person for you, a like genuinely helps the channel out. And if you're into this, me pulling apart how people actually work under the hood, hit subscribe. I do a new one of these every week. And I'm honestly curious about this one. So tell me, Who's someone you wrote off over one bad moment who turned out to be completely fine? Drop it below. I read every single comment.